And welcome back once again to the PCS Spring Split 2022. We had to have quite the cool down after that absolute banger of an opener today, but I'm really excited for our next four as well, Nightstar. We are going to be getting into Sem 9 versus J-Team in just a minute. Before we do, I want to take a moment to thank our wonderful sponsors once again. They are CTBC Bank and, of course, Caliber. Thank you for making the PCS possible. CTBC should be pretty happy with that Flying Oyster performance. But yeah, Nightstar, looking ahead now, Sem 9... they're kind of in the opposite situation as those teams we just watched. They are looking to avoid going 0-18, the dubious honor of being the first team in the PCS to do it. J-Team, on the other hand, things are definitely looking up for this squad when they get the champions they want.
Yeah, this is going to be a very different matchup, at least vibe-wise, than what we had in the first one. Of course, it was kind of seeing if CFO could bounce back. Here, we're just looking for some growth coming in from Sem 9, right? We're going to be realistic here. Let's not put those rose-tinted glasses on too much. And for Sem 9, it's about growth. They have Lazar in, they have Arashi, the two younger players from their mid jungle combinations. So I think that's what they're really playing for. Just get more experience on these two players, but in order to do so, you really have to set them up to succeed, and that means taking away things like Uniboy Zoe, which I think is just completely illegal.
Yeah, it's honestly it's probably too graphic to be shown on stream, to be honest. Yeah, Sem 9, I think if they can like build up with these new players, they very likely won't get a win here today, but there are other opponents that they might be able to do that for. And I think it's important for them to try and work on fundamentals. They've been swapping a lot of players around. Lazar has gotten a lot more stage time. I think Arashi sort of rounded the curve there over Caspiel. And we'll see if they can really just work on those basic things and keep it together as a squad. They had a rough start. They've continued to look a little iffy. I think there have been some shining moments, but you can't string enough together to get the full win. And that's the issue. You know, much like stacking rejuvenation beads, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, there's almost only so much juju you can build, right? And unfortunately for Sem 9, there's just been not enough good juju for them to get that first win. And this is going to be, a battle of two very different teams, right? You've got a lot of young players on Sem 9, whereas on the flip side, you have a lot of veteran players on J-Team mixed in with a little bit of fresh faces. But for the most part, like, we expect J-Team to secure this. It's really just the manner of how they secure it. We want to see very clear step-up performances from other members on the side of J-Team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that'll be the opportunity for that squad to try and shine through a little bit more. You know, one thing that Sem 9's missing when they have Arashi in the lineup? The cat ear headphones, man, from the Berjaya Dragons days. I want to see those again. Maybe that was where he got his power from. Yeah, J-Team on their side, speaking of power, they've definitely got it in spades, in particular in the mid and jungle. Kongia and Uniboy have definitely lived up to the promise on a number of champions. It's like when you get some like amazing miracle cure marketed at you, and there's that little asterisk, and down in the tiny print at the bottom of the bottle, it says only effective on Lisa and Zoe.
Yeah, it feels like their champion pool, it's not quite limited to Lisa and Zoe. Of course, we are kind of pigeonholing
we're maybe
them
a
just
little
bit, but
the Syndra's also really good. Let's be honest.
It is again a very small effective champion pool, and we haven't seen them tested or forced onto a lot of these other ones that more often than not. However, speaking of Berjaya Dragons, Enzo, he used to be on Berjaya, and now he is in as the support. He played with Arashi, of course, moved from jungle to support to allow Arashi to come into the roster. Now he's found himself in a staple support spot on I would say a much larger name team.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see those two face off against one another. But speaking of facing off, we are also going to compare the AD carries. Both of them have had different sets of struggles, I would say. Klax, of course, not being able to find those wins, has been pretty dependent on the Jinx, where he's been able to dish the damage. And I think Lilvi has also been the same. Like most AD carries have been happy to take the handshake. Lil V, I think, a lot more dependent on that Jinx, but we did see the Kai'Sa coming out, and maybe we start to see the shift of the meta. Kai'Sa's been rising in priority around the world, and we've seen now that Faker proved it looks pretty good on AP.
I think the AP Kai'Sa can make a lot of sense in more compositions than the AD Kai'Sa, but when you do face a lot of those AD bot lane champion bans, then you can just kind of fall into that Kai'Sa because a lot of the other more punishing lane champions are stripped away.
Yeah, it does seem like the focus is two different directions. J-Team, they focus bots, and of course the Zeri ban makes a lot of sense, but the Jinx also thrown at ClayX means that that's where they are keeping their heads on. And Sem9 have gone for 3 bans against Driver. The Jace, the Gwen, and of course the Tryndamere. Now, Driver's found some success on other champions. I mean, everyone's going to remember that Jax performance, but it did start down behind. So clearly, Sem9 have identified a big threat here, and let's see what they find an answer with. The Xayah is going to be the first pick for ClayX.
First pick Xayah in this instance. You kind of have the, I wouldn't say that necessarily the trifecta, just because we haven't seen Zeri, but the remaining trifecta have been Xayah, Jinx, and Aphelios. And Xayah does well into both Aphelios and Jinx, at least in the lane phase. So we'll look for ClayX to try and maximize that lane phase power, because that's just honestly hasn't been the trend for Sem9. And I mean, Arashi just flashing the cat ears. The cat
yeah.
ears.
I mean, he does show us. He shows us. But with the lock-in on the Lee Sin, I want to talk about that Vex, because this is a champion that has shown up in the hands of some of our assassin players, but not Uniboy. And I'm curious to see what he makes of it, because that is a champion that could be right up his alley, and it's going to be going up against a Syndra from Lazar.
Now, I actually like this opening draft coming in from Sem9, and this feels like something that J-Team would go for themselves, right? You get the Lee Sin, you get the Syndra. These are 2 staple champions, also has a lot of one-shot power at level 6, so we'll look for Sem9 to take advantage of that combination. And for the side of J-Team, this is a full dive composition. This is a win lane and then Giga snowball the game, because
let's go.
You have Vex, you have Samira, you have Nautilus. They are coming at you nonstop, and it's just a matter of how do we round out this composition. I would love to see a Malphite. Give me the Malphite. That tops this comp off so well. Adds the extra CC layering for the Samira to pop her passive. It really is disgusting. So for Sem9, I hope they also possibly identify that. But I also just want to see that giant Wombo.
I mean, be careful what you wish for here. Sorry, I think it may be possible. J-Team looking to try for a style game, but we are in ban phase 2. 2 support bans thrown out by J-Team up against Filia. Meanwhile, it's jungle bans against Kongye, no Viego, and no Hecarim. So there are other dive champions available. I mean, Nocturne, I actually saw it earlier today in the LCS, and it almost worked, in all honesty. I was about to say maybe we get to see the return of the Diana, but it is going to be, J-Team. Oh, this is going to be fun.
I thought it would be something like the Volibear, which has, of course, a little bit more dive power at level 6, being able to turn off towers. But Nocturne doesn't turn off towers, he turns off the lights. So, you know, at the very least, you accomplish very similar things. Still a lot of dive power, and the side of Sem9, they answer in a pretty good fashion. I'm not like... I don't hate this round out of their composition. You get the Rakan, great at counter engage, and then you get the Scion. So very stock standard sort of team fight composition, but a very well-rounded one against a J-Team that, I mean, this is clearly them just limit testing the composition here, and it should be fun to watch if it comes online. Otherwise, you know, realistically, or I mean, this is not realistically, I guess. But if Sem9 are able to hold somewhat well in lane or lose gracefully in lane, this composition plays extremely well into the J team comp. It punishes really any dives with that Syndra combination. The Scion runs a really good wall for this Xayah, and the Xayah with her Feather Storm able to deny pretty much everything a dive comp wants to do.
Yeah, not only that, you've got the Xayah combo to try and slip out a hard way a little faster. The added range can give you that benefit, and a well-placed quickness can really turn a fight after the fact. I was wondering if maybe we'd start to see the Renata coming in, but this is a bit more of a reliable combination when the Rakan's been left open. So a really interesting pick ban phase here for Sem9 J team. I'm excited to see what it does. It's going to come down to execution, but Sem9 have given themselves a possibility. On the J team side, man, it is all dive all the time. Everybody's going in, and it's so many champions that we don't get to see as often. The Aatrox, the Samira, the Nocturne, and of course, Uniboy on the Vex. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, for J team, they're trying to figure out what other styles they can play, and this is also, at the very least, a comp that has multiple go buttons, which has been a struggle for them in the past, just saying, hey, we're going in, and we're just going in. Now, they don't have to worry about it because everyone is going in.
As long as they all do it at around the same time, I mean, they can fully commit to this. So, will J-Team be able to dive and dumpster the likes of Sem9? Or will the Malaysian representatives find their first win against a very strong J-Team squad? This is going to be a fun one after our first game. I think it was a herald of greater things, Nightstar. Let's take a look at our summoner choices as well as the runes. This is, okay. All right. I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I just want to bring attention to the fact that bot lane has double exhaust from Sem9.
That is a lot of fear.
They understand. Well, I personally think that Ignite is just overrated as a summoner. And double exhaust into full dive is very, very powerful. One exhaust into single or just double dive is very effective to begin with, and this is just like everything. Sem9 have set themselves up to succeed if they can get through this laning phase, Pyra.
Yeah, and that is the question, right? Talk me through this Samira lane and how it's going to be able to deal with the Xayah Rakan.
Well, it really just comes down to neutralizing those feathers, of course, with your Samira kit. Just being able to block those out and prevent those feathers from coming back to the Xayah pick. So that's going to be something to keep track of when Lil V does go in. But again, when you pick a Samira, it's about the all-in pressure. And for Xayah, she wants to keep trades very short until she gets that lethality where she just has so much more burst damage.
Right, so while we keep an eye on that bottom lane, I think we want to actually split our attention across everywhere on the map. I think there's kill pressure, maybe less up in the top to start with Driver versus Shiramine, but for Uniboy here on this Vex, I'm curious to see what he can do against Lazar. But there's a level lead already, as the Syndra is already started to amass a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, and I think Syndra, while not necessarily the most explosive mid lane champion that you can take, is just so flexible with what she can do, whether it's in lane phase, with facilitating 2v2 kills, depending on what you lock in for your jungler, and also just being able to play really for pick or defensively in team fight settings. It's just a lot of what this champion offers. Makes a lot of sense for a lot of these PCS teams. So I like the lock-in here. We'll see how Lazar is able to perform on the pick because he hasn't had great lane phases so far, and that's just something you'd like to see him really step up with, especially now they are eliminated from playoff contention. You have that pressure really removed from you.
Yeah, this is all about showing improvement and trying to look as good as you can in the final games of the split. It's pride, but it's also development. So Lazar. We'll see if he can get some of that back for himself. Worth keeping in mind, doesn't have the combat sums to compare to Uniboy. That's an Ignite versus a Teleport. So, going to be playing more for the global pressure game. As we see, it has been an early game that has mostly been about getting the farm up advantage.
He's collapsed on all 4 sides.
Kongye is about to come in here. This
dead.
could be rough
I don't
right
know if
now.
you're dead or
Driver
dead.
looking to cut him off. Got the weak flash, but it's surprise! It's Kongye and Enzo, and that's going to be a first blood as they came from all directions.
I don't know if that flash was... that was one of those very hopeful flashes, because he already saw Enzo and Kongye coming in from the other side. He was dead either way, so him burning the flash, yeah, a bit of yet another rookie mistake, just kind of panic flashing in that instance. And hopefully when he goes back to the VOD, he understands that, because now for sure he's just going to get flanked from all directions yet again, because he has no flash. Makes for easy pickings, whether it's coming in from an Aatrox roam, a Nautilus roam, or even this is a pre-level 6 Nocturne.
Yeah, and he's just able to slam on the fear, get a little bit of help with the hook from Enzo, and there you go. I mean, this is what you can do with that type of champion. I do like that we're starting to see a little bit more variety from some of these pretty scary junglers from Kongye. I was about to say Shiro looked in a little bit of trouble there, but he's just going to get zoned out by Driver. Should be able to walk away. I would like to talk a little bit about the Nocturne, actually, if we get the opportunity. Did see it a little earlier today in the LCS. Golden Guardians versus 100 Thieves. It was Pride Stalker that actually took this champion. Yep. And he basically just went for the I'm going to dive in. Yeah, the Stride Breaker. I'm going to dive in. I've got GA. I just basically need to keep everybody occupied while my team dives with me. And that seems like it's the same strategy here.
Yeah, it's not really used for the assassination tool. It's really more about, hey, I'm going to buy as much time while being super annoying in the backline. And now it's a 3v3.
Oh, not again! Lazar going to be taken down 2 for 2. This time he had some help, but it didn't do him any good as Arashi's forced to flash away. Into the fear goes. That's Kongye cleaning up 1. Tanking tower shots. They're not going to go for Arashi on round 2, but J-Team just so far together and bullying this mid lane.
Yeah, and this was pretty expected coming even in from the side of 7-9, right? They saw that, hey, we lost mid-flash really early on. You can critique whether or not it was necessary, but it happened, so now we have to try and make a move mid lane to contest. So that's what they do, but unfortunately it's matched perfectly by J-Team. They just have a lot more early game power right now.
Oh boy, uh-oh,
Level 6
Arashi. I think he's going to be going down as a Shadow Surge coming through there. Klayax trying to hold on. They actually managed to find Uniboy. So that's a fire back, but Kongye flashes for the kill. Here comes Lazar to get revenge for his team. Double kill on the Nocturne would be some gold to pick up in the pocket. They take him down, and J-Team bought a bit more than they could chew on that one, and so did I apparently, as Klayax gets a double kill.
Bada bing, bada boom.
There you go.
And more importantly, Klayax gets 2 kills onto himself. If you're talking about a target that is probably the hardest to dive on the side of 7-9, it is going to be that Xayah because of the Feather Storm. So I love the gold allocation that they were able to get for the side of 7-9. It also means that there's a clear target for the side of J-Team
what happened up
to
here?
focus down in the remaining of this lane phase, but Driver, we're gonna see a replay of this.
Doesn't have ult. He hits it here. Oh, yeah, it's the World Ender. Okay, goodbye.
You just don't have a lot of options. Doesn't get a good angle to ult out. So, yeah, he's just stuck. Game played.
Yep. That's, that kind of feels like it's going to be Shiro's lot for a bit. Yeah.
Yep. Well executed. All right. This is... Pyra, I'd like for you to take a look at the inventory. Take a look at the 3-1-1 Kongye.
Ooh.
He's got Bomby Cinder. This is a very different build from Stride Breaker.
Yeah, okay. All right, Kongye, I see what you're doing here. Now, Enzo is getting caught up by Arashi, tagged in Philly as well. They do have a pretty mobile squad. The problem is they don't have the damage to really do more. Kongye and Driver going to be doubling up on the Rift Herald. So, That's going to be a good start for them. But Lil V, he's going to have to walk away from this one. Actually, this could be a big dive deep, but he's got Flash, he's got Cleanse, and now he's got Enzo, and they're going to try and go for this one. Here goes Uniboy over the wall with a Shadow Surge. Lil V will finish the kill and has his eyes set on the Rakan, but there's an outplay by Clayx there, and it's going to actually take Lil V's ultimate. Meanwhile, Lazar getting soloed by Kongye. No, he walks it out. What a bloody bit of the map right now.
Kongya unable to get the finish because he's full tank Nocturne in this instance. Doesn't even have a bloody ounce of damage.
You know he hates this. You know he does not want to build this right now. It's Kongya. He wants the damage. Let's see the start. It was all a single target paranoia as the fight was going on. But so close. Runs a little bit low on mana, and Lazar can do nothing, but he just limps away.
Oh, just enough healing coming in from that corrupting potion to out-heal the red buff. And
Lazar had to get lucky eventually, right? I mean, he's just been absolutely dunked on. It's not even his fault, right? Like, it's like 4 people diving him.
Well,
he shouldn't have burned the flash. He shouldn't have burned the flash.
Because
but still.
Yeah, it's a consequence of burning that flash, right?
Yeah.
And J-Team, they effectively punished that Lost Summoner spell for summoner that didn't need to be used in that instance. And well, now attention has really shifted. Clayx.
Okay, that's going to be a 1-2. How do you do? Enzo ends up getting the kill credit, but Lil B will be able to get one back for himself as he just goes Blades out. Guns out as well, blazing on the Inferno trigger. Arashi here a little bit too late. Kongye, this should be the push. Ooh, close to being hit. Yeah, Arashi's looking like he wants to give up.
Yeah, absolutely. He should be just leaving this tower here. They're going to get first brick on the side of J-Team. And a little bit of, Butterfingers that are coming in from Clayx. Doesn't get the exhaust. I would assume he probably thought he had heal, so he didn't designate a target for that exhaust, and now in this bottom lane, it looks like they're going to try and get more from this Herald.
I think they can. Arashi stuck around. Oh, they get the smite down just in time. That was a good defensive maneuver. That's why he was there. So, here comes Uniboy, though. Paranoid on. And he's going to tag once again. The Xayah, no chance, but the Featherstorm does come through. That's the Inferno trigger to try and zone them off. And Lazar, he sees a triple kill in his sights. Can he execute it? Diving in, the double kill for the Vex. Uniboy finds another one. Can't quite close it on there.
Oh, it's Lazar, a free triple if he can find it.
Oh, gosh, he would want this so badly right now, but he's going to have to flash defensively away. Flash forward, he's got the weak, gets one, shut down. Does he have one? That's going to be the fear on, and good night.
No mana.
How much can you do, right? That was a nice try. Meanwhile, Shiro, and you're dead.
Doesn't have enough move speed to catch up to Driver. Driver can also just dip over the wall. I mean, this is just, a hand scab.
A little bit.
As we might say.
Hey, that was a good smite by Arashi. That's what he needed to do.
This is a fun display of mechanical skill coming in from J-Team. And it is what it is.
Yep.
How's your day?
Yeah, I mean, look, Lazar's day could be worse, because after everything that's happened to him, he still manages to get a kill out of this. He still walks away. Unfortunately, no mana to really get much more. And then, yeah, okay, you get the kill, you're going to die after that. But hey, you got gold, you got shutdown, you got bounty. At this point, you take what you can get.
You take the moral victories, because that's all that's currently left in the game at just 12.5 minutes, 4-7-9. They are down 8,000 gold.
And a dragon.
And a dragon. It's a mountain dragon. So if you thought it was hard to get back into the game, the extra resistances on J-Team, not going to help. Especially, see, this is the big brain play. Because you're getting mountain dragon. That's why you're going full tank Nocturne, because then you can maximize the extra bonus resistances Pyra.
How did he know? I guess he saw the dragon pit, but still. Lil V rotates up to the mid. Clayx and Arashi are going to try and defend this, but still a lot of plate gold being picked up. I mean, you got to look at where the gold is too, right? Well, Driver's been able to get some solo kills. Uniboy stacked up 4, actually feeling very confident in himself to
He has
just
the
straight up build the
Medjais.
Medjais. He actually, I think he had stacks, and he
Zero
lost
stack.
them because he died to the Syndra.
Oh, yes.
But also
is true.
Lilvi has Gale Force already, or Lilvi's had the Gale Force sitting on a serrated Dirk 405 on the Samira. Hasn't been
If
touched.
Lil V could have gotten himself the Sword of Volcult, he would have. This is the Sword of Volcult angle.
All right,
If anyone remembers that item, that's the AD equivalent.
I do
of
remember Sword of the
Medjais.
Occult. I am
You
very
remember
old.
the tank version.
Oh gosh, I want to say Heart of Gold, but it's not.
No, that was exactly as its name was. They gave you gold.
Yeah, I mean effectively because you can always build all those stuff afterwards. But yeah,
You
Gosh,
got
what was the-
GP10, but it's Leviathan.
oh yeah. Okay, all right, you got me. It was you know why I never built it.
Kongria would have built Leviathan this game.
Yeah, it tracks. He's got a frozen
I mean, he
fist.
could build Sword of Occult to amplify damage, but you know, if you're already going Gauntlet, might as well get Leviathan, right?
Sure, why not? Throw in some more defenses there, best you can. So yeah, J Team. This is definitely, and I think it was going to be from the beginning, turned into a style game. But I also do like that they are showing some different champions. They're having fun with it, and they are flexing, but they are doing something a little bit different with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like forcing Kongye to build tank.
Yeah, and
It's like eating your vegetables. It's good for you, even though it's yucky.
well, like for the side of J Team, this is a really, I mean, it's entertaining, but it adds that extra degree of, for other teams that have to prep against J Team, do they actually play these champions? Because you could give an argument that no, they're not actually good on these champions. It was because against Sem9 that they just ruffle stop.
But maybe
So you
that's
can-
the mind game, right? Like
exactly.
they
Like,
they
it adds
actually
that
are good on
extra
these champions.
dimension for playoffs. We're
Yeah.
playing 5D chess.
Yes. Yeah, and I really like that J Team decided to do this too, because I think one of the issues we've seen from this squad is that when they haven't been on like those really preferred champions, we're talking about the Zoe, they look good, but then they're like, they kind of get a little bit lost if they're not getting out to a head start. We'll talk about that in a minute because Arashi getting completely dove down
brought
by
friends.
everybody. Didn't even need the Nocturne to finish up. Big stun off on the Scout of the Week, but it's not going to do enough as Kongye gets exhausted. Shiramine forced to ult
Uniboy
out.
saw his ult.
It's going to be
Do
Uniboy
it,
looking for
Uniboy.
Philia. He's going in. Let's go. Big fear into the exhaust, but it opens up the chance for the dive. And he might die on this one, but he went big. And unfortunately for him, he will go home as J-Team once again tried to turn this around, but they've lost a couple of members already, or at least lost Uniboy soon. It seemed they were going to lose more, but Shiro and Clayx can't really do anything to push them off this tower, and they keep the aggressive push going. That's the pull-in once more, and they're going to open up the chance for Lil V to get 1 and 2 as he goes into the Inferno trigger.
The Inferno trigger goes off, and also Shelly's charge goes off there. So they get the tower, get all of those kills. Arashi even respawns in time.
Yeah, he can't stop the charge, but
He started the play, and he arrives in time to watch the end of the play.
full circle, man. The cycle of Arashi continues. Wait, did he stop the backs? Ooh.
I mean, does he really want to, though?
no, but like, I mean, you know, it's cheeky.
Do
I'll
it.
take it. Oh, wait. Driver stays.
Do it!
This is like a continued engage after the fact.
I mean, if you think theoretically, though, that's probably Sem9's best opportunity.
Whoa! Kitty boy. Yeah, it would be. 6 sacks on that Medjais. Definitely keep an eye on that number right now. As they're looking for more here. And in comes
And ults are
Enzo
back.
and Kongye. They just do not stop. The kickback ain't going to matter as much. Beauty Boy adds a few more pages to his dark magic book.
I mean, J-Team are just playing to the tune of Kesha. The party don't stop till I walk in, but everyone's walking in!
Oh, tick-tock on the clock. I think it's running out for Sem9 right now. Good night, Lazar. They'll take the turret. Dragon spawns, rotate around. Shiramine, not much he can do, already in zombie form. And, wow. Yeah, that is a terrifying dive.
Man. Well. It's something.
Yeah. And you're throwing me back today. You starting with, like, Sword of the Occult, now we're talking about Kesha. Night Star, it's like I'm in college again. Also, like, crazy League of Legends games. I mean, that's, yeah. It's definitely, that was where I got my start. I was doing a senior project through my computer science courses. I had 4 friends, and they said, hey, we play this game. It's called League of Legends. You want to try? I'm like, sure. And then I discovered Singed, and the rest is history. That's all you need to know about my League of Legends.
So you discovered Arcane, is what you're telling me.
Yes, I am. That had so many champions I love playing. That is such a good show. Go watch it, everyone, if you haven't. And if you have, go watch it again after tonight's games.
So you created Victor. I understand.
It was definitely my fault. I'll take full credit for that. Yeah, not in the game, but just the idea. I'm not a developer.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
Singed was an interesting character when he appeared.
Yeah, I mean, like, because in game, a lot of the champions kind of feel a little cartoonish, right? Because they do have like their one-liners and all the skins sort of make them look a little different.
Definitely didn't look like Singed from the game.
He had so much depth of character. We got to learn so much about him, so much about Victor. Like, yeah, no, it really gave a lot of dimensions, right? I think Vi too, right? Like, if you look at like the old Vi design and lore, it's like, oh, she just likes punching things, which is true. But also, she's definitely not really a cop.
Yes, that as well. We learned a lot in that regard.
It is a great show with good character development and great writing. That's
Yeah,
all I can say about
thankfully, Season 2 won't be as long of a wait.
that. Yeah, even better. Also, if you want to see Silco in a game, go play TFT. You been enjoying the mid set?
Not really. But you know what?
Back to the game.
Mayday just kind of just drives by. It's like when you like drive through a neighborhood.
Bump the sound, the bass is going.
No.
You're trying to look cool, but unfortunately, yeah, you don't look cool. Driver's caught, but I don't know if it's going to matter here. He's got a massive level advantage on everybody.
He
no,
just
and
healed
World
Infinite.
Ender. Yeah, I did. And they're all 5 on top of him while the Baron is going. If he still gets these kills, I'm telling you. Now, the screen's a little frozen for me right now, but I tagged right back just in time. And Driver is still alive. They shut him down.
Okay, do
Here's
it.
Unibroy
Do it.
going in for round 2. Deletes 1. Goodbye, Clayx. Gonna try to find
no,
Philia.
he missed.
I did miss the second, so unfortunately can't get that one. But he's gonna take down Lazar. Looking for the quadra kill on his own right now. Oh, Unibroy on to Shiramani. The flash, the triple. Kong beat the scumbag and steal.
Oh, they don't have CC.
He's out. Okay, well, it was a nice try. Flashes though, okay.
The Scion might not have the items, as we can clearly see, but at least he still has the style. At least he's still going for the style. He finally has a completed item.
He does, Frozen Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so let's take a look at the replay again, because Driver just lives forever. Note there's a minimum 3-level difference between him and everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, he's eating his Wheaties. Oh man, that was a nice bite. Woo. But unfortunately, Aatrox unable to hit sweet spots means that you don't have a ton of damage if you don't hit your sweet spots. So
yeah, but
eventually he goes down.
He buys enough time for Unibroy to peel off the Baron and get himself a triple kill. Would have liked more, but cheeky Scion teleport,
baby.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, I think safe to say this game's going to be ending pretty soon. Yeah, here comes the dive in from Kongye. The Featherstone's not going to be really doing much here. However, they do take out Enzo. That could be a start. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. That's going to be the end of that one. On the Charm, they get the knockup. Double kill comes in for the Samira. Lilvi flashes forward to make it a triple. Certainly wants himself more on the Fountain. PlayX will be the only one to grab a kill off that one, and he's not going to be able to step safely out into his base. So it's not the fastest game on record, but J-Team looking oh so stylish in their victory here against Sem9. Still in the hunt for a win here and not go 0-18. And that is going to be it done and dusted. J-Team knocking down the Nexus for a very convincing win.
Very convincing and a very enjoyable win for them, as you can see. Uniboy's clearly having a lot of fun. What a way for them to end the week. You know, you just play freely. You kind of understand nothing is really on the line here.
So locked in playoffs.
Playoffs locked in. Sem9, you know, not looking like a threat to the top teams in particular. So J-Team very comfortably get through this one.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we joked on it a little bit, but I do think there is something to the whole, hey, can this team actually play these champions, or were they just having fun with it?
Yes.
There are a couple of picks that I wouldn't be surprised to come out. I think that Vex showing from Uniboy does feel like it's right up his alley. It's a little bit more committal than the likes of a Zoe, but at the same time, we are starting to see it rise in priority. The likes of Pretender and Bay, they've been playing it. We've seen it around the world a little bit more to varying effects. I'm not 100% sure about the Samira, but I mean, it is a... If we start to get into the tit for tat of like, okay, Zaya's going to come in to try and deal with like the Jinx Aphelios meta, and then you counter the counter with the Samira, it's always possible. I don't know about the Aatrox so much, although Driver was having a good time. I think the Nocturne definitely could be seeing more of that as well.
Yeah, the Aatrox made sense given that Sion already showed. It's kind of one of those matchups that was seen a lot in the past. But, I mean, for the most part, it was just J-Team flexing their mechanical muscles. And Sem9, you know, we wanted to see a little bit more. Unfortunately, the early game got away. The burned flash really threw everything into a wrench into their plans, because then you had that very early 3v3 that I'm sure Arashi would have liked to wait until level 6 when he got his kick available to him to then start taking advantage of that mid 2v2. So it's just, you know, continuing to build experience, and hopefully when they go back into the VOD, you know, they don't go past 10 minutes. But there's a lot to learn before that, right?
Absolutely. I think some of those micro decisions, those do mean a lot, especially the likes of like Lazar burning that flash when he was dead anyways. They had information. You do have to adapt to those situations and realize when you are going to be dead either way. And at the same time, I think just being a little bit quicker on some of the rotations, on some of the plays, could have made a difference, because there were a lot of times that J-Team overplayed their hand and just didn't get punished for it.
Yeah, that is very true. As we get to see the gold graph, I mean, it was a 20k gold difference at the end. So it was clearly just going to be a big mountain. And you might not realize this gold difference until you look at, you know, the side and it says minus 20k. But
yep,
plenty of damage being dealt by everyone on the side of J-Team except for Tank Nocturne, but we kind of expected that, and Uniboy gets the MVP. I mean, for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, really everywhere on the map, he started up a lot of the fights, and the counter engages. You talked about so many go buttons. Well, he was pressing his as much as he possibly could, and had the killer instinct to go down. I mean, he full on peeled off the Baron because he's like, guys, this is it. This is where I get Penta. But he only got the triple kill off of it. All the same, a pretty beastly Vex, and we did worry about the champion pools of the carries on this squad. And I think Uniboy has added another champion that teams might have to be afraid of.
Yeah, we'll certainly need to see another Vex game from him to really prove it, but this is certainly a good start. And for J-Team, you know, it's just making sure you secure the wins that you need, right? This top half is very contentious. So you need to be able to clean up and make sure those games at the bottom against teams in the bottom of the standings are for sure wins.
Absolutely. And, you know, speaking of the table and the contention, right now we got a clash up in the middle of the table right after this break. It is going to be Frank Esports taking on Metal Falcon Team.